We're back on the Vicky show. And I had to give y'all that because, everybody missed when I used to do the intro like that. And I really don't do it like that anymore, so I had to give that. That was for the people. But I'm still in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm having a blast out here. BMZ Garcon, my barista, has been showing me a blast since I've been here. Um, the Labor Day weekend itself, I had an overtime. Shout out to Tender to Touch. I was with them pretty much the whole time. Josh Milan, Rico Balenciaga, BMZ Garcon. Shout out to Joe. Just shout out to everybody. Kodak. Shout out to everybody that's been showing me love since I've been in ATL. Like, I've been getting crazy massive love. So I want to give y'all that shout out. But I'm here with the legendary one of Atlanta Elite, Vito Milan is here to break her silence and talk about everything from personal, ballroom, and the latest on the Milans, what's going on. So, can Vito come in? Hi, Vito.
What's up, Vicky?
Yeah, so Vito, first of all, me and Vito talked about this when I was here last time.
Right.
But Vito is so busy to catch up to. So, we didn't schedule it last time because you were so busy.
All right. You might want to come over.
Let me come over a little bit. Yes. So now, Vito, excuse me, my Vicky viewers.
What's up, all the Vicky Gotti viewers?
Yes. Now, Vito is here. Now, Vito, I want to just start out by asking you, okay, the whole Milan thing, I like to jump right into it.
I know.
What I'm saying? What's the direction of the House of Milan right now? Like, what direction are y'all trying? Are y'all trying to take it back to how y'all used to be? A new direction? Like, what's the new direction now?
I mean, I'm very fond of if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we've been really strong in keeping our structure laid the proper way and adhering to all the things that have always been the basis of what we started from the beginning. And my goal as the father of Atlanta is to pretty much just stick to those principles, quality over quantity, make sure that we just accept new people and get people that are going to be more family oriented and not so much rebellious against the direction that we're trying to continue in.
Well, there you have it. So, Vito, how do you feel about like the Stephanies, the Veronicas, the Smile? Was Smile still there?
No, Smiles is no longer Milan.
Tony, and it's a couple of Hostellos, Prince. How you feel about all those girls, those girls hitting in, and those, how do you feel about that?
I mean, realistically, I feel no type of way whatsoever. Josello is one of my brothers. Smiles is a brother of mine as well. Veronica, I love me some Veronica. Shout out to Veronica. She did her thing at Candy World Saturday. And, everybody who left, we've been around. We've seen it come and go. This is the first time it's happened so mainstream and on a massive level that it did with the House of Milan. But, everybody have their gripes. Everybody have things and they can only take so much. It's sad to see these people leave because a lot of them were pretty much influential members. They were walkers, they were winners, the ones that were walkers and winners. Those are the ones, we miss them, we love them the same. People have to do what they have to do. It's no love lost, Me and Veronica, we still chop it up. Me and Smiles, we still chop it up. Josello and I, we still talk. It's no love lost, no hard feelings, none of that, It comes a time where everybody has something that's going on. They personally don't feel that this is the best fit for them anymore. Congratulations to Josello on his fathership with the House of Blonic. And, we wish everybody who left the best in their future endeavors,
So I know y'all got something up your sleeve, though. I mean, every house do, you know what I'm saying? So I know y'all have something coming soon. Are you going to be at Washington?
I'm trying to figure out now if I'm going to be at Washington, but we definitely have some things in the making, and we just want everybody to stay tuned to what we have going on.
Okay, there you have it. Now, Vito, also, you used to be a Givenchy back in the day.
I did. I made my ballroom debut as a Givenchy. I was in the club.
Okay, now I'm gonna yes. Can you talk about how you was a Givenchy and why did you like the Givenchy's?
Yeah, Andre is one of the first people I met into the ballroom, like introduced me into the ballroom scene and everything. I was just this little timid guy in the club, used to watch him Vogue all the time. And I told him, I was like, I want to walk a ball. He was like, what do you want to walk? And at that time, I started walking Schoolboy Realness. So I was in the house of Givenchy for Schoolboy Realness. I walked a few balls at Schoolboy Realness, but as in just watching the balls, I kind of knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. It was fun to it. Yeah, it's like a starter category, but some people find their niche in that. Right. That really wasn't my niche, So from there, I was Givenchy probably like a half of a year. And then it just was like, it was too much going on. And for somebody that's new to it, it wasn't really any guidance or anything to help me understand what it was I had embarked upon. So I pretty much left there. I was hanging out with Makuta Chanel, Versace, and he had started his own little house. So I had a little stint as a Versace, and that's how when I started voguing, I was then a Versace. And that's how I pretty much started my ballroom career.
So who taught you how to vogue? Because you said you was a schoolboy, so who taught you how to like vogue and get it popping like you do?
I can't say somebody really taught me. It was along the lines of I saw them doing this in the club, and I was like, "Oh, this is popping. This is what I want to do." And I end up meeting legendary Armani Milan, and legendary Boom Boom Milan, rest in peace. And they pretty much took me under their wing. They was like, "Oh yeah, Boom Boom became my gay mother, which made Armani my aunt." And from there, I would practice with them, vogue around the house with them, go to the clubs and vogue, and that was it.
So did you ever, because people come on this show, Vito, and say, when I ask them my famous question, do you want to be a legend? And some people say no, and some people say yeah. Now, you are a legend, and did you ever want to be like a legend in the ballroom scene?
I think anybody that says no would be kidding themselves, or it was just a little bit of being too humble. You know, I was never one of those people who felt like I had to do what I had to do to become a legend type of thing, or kiss somebody's ass, or play with the right power players in order to get some type of status. I was never one of those people, but it was one of those because the people who I looked up to and saw that did their thing, like Little Kevin and Ray Ray, Armani, Taif, for all of them, it was like, oh, these people really did their thing. And then you see them, and it was something that you was like, okay, I want to one day be at the level to where other Vogue films like, hey, can you teach me how to Vogue? Or, oh, you know, I like your Vogue. Oh, I did this. Or back in the day, when people say, oh yeah, I like this, I want to practice with you, this, that, and the third. It's a kind of sense of owning who you have made yourself become in this scene that a legendary status pretty much provides for you. And so, yeah, at one point I saw myself saying, yeah, I would love to be at that level where these people have worked so hard to maintain a certain respect amongst their peers to then be on that level with them.
Thank you for keeping it real, Vito, because I hate when a bitch say no. Bitch, you know you want to be a legend.
Right.
Now, Vito, who deemed you legend? Because now Shannon, we're going to get into Shannon, Balenciaga now, shout out to Shannon. She said that you're not even a legend when y'all had this argument at that ball or something like that. First of all, who deemed you?
Selvin deemed me at the DC Awards ball 2 years ago. Okay. Then there was this whole discrepancy about people deeming people, and it was no discussions being met amongst the icons and things of that nature. And then at the Dia Ball in North Carolina last year, when they reissued status and gave these little plaques and everything, well, the little frame certificates and everything, I was one of the ones along with Foxy, Tim, Dave Ren.
So you're certified, so why would she say that out of her mouth? I love that smell, Vito. I gotta use that. So what is y'all shade, Vito, with you and Shannon?
Technically, there is no shade. A lot of people who don't know me misunderstand me. I'm very stern, I'm very direct, and I'm very play by the rules, but I mean what I say type of guy. So I have no hard feelings towards Shannon. If she feels that way, I don't know what makes her feel that way.
Okay, well, what happened that night? Wow, you chopped her. You chopped her, right?
I did.
Okay.
That particular night, the ball was the register to vote for type of thing. So everything was red, white, and blue. Your femme queens were supposed to have a touch of red. Women were supposed to have a touch of white. Drags were supposed to have a touch of blue. And the legends could come in any combination of the red, white, and blue. So here comes Shannon in blue shoes and a yellow dress. And it's giving variable what's going on, you know. So as she's walking, even if you've seen the clip, you can see me being more concerned than anything because I know how the female figures can be. So I just wanted to be a little more respectful for that, to her by looking over. You know, I'm looking to my left. There's icons to my left. There's icons to my right, and everybody's giving a grade of like, bitch, what are you doing? So I'm like, well, she's not a legend, right? It was like, no. So I'm like, well, she's not a drag, so. I said, well, what's going on? You know, I'm asking the promoter because Brandon was standing there, and I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, well, I'm a new woman. New woman isn't on here.
Right.
Ajane, Renee, so many other female figures, Ayana even, you know, these people have sex change operations, but if it's not singled out that you should be a new woman bringing it like this, then you adhere to the femme queen categories.
Right.
It's plain as day. Like, it is what it is. So that's when she get very, it's never a chop. You can't being Shannon. But I'm not going to be one of those people. But what I'm not going to do is ever let anybody, butch queen, femme queen, woman, anything, nobody's going to disrespect me. So that's when it got very, okay, I'm just going to chop. So now when you want to do all this verbal combat and all this type of stuff, and you mean what you say, I mean what I say too. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be me. She's going to be her. My bills get paid. Her bills get paid. We have two totally separate lives. We're disconnected about all other means of life other than the ballroom scene. So her opinion of me doesn't matter to me just as much as my opinion of her doesn't matter to her.
Okay. Have y'all spoke about this, Vito, and tried to, was there ever a friendship between y'all two? Or
there was never a friendship.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's no need to even talk about it.
No, because it happens. It happened. Like, you made yourself look like an ass. I didn't. You're mad because you made yourself get chopped. If I go to a ball unprepared and somebody chopped me, I can't be mad at who chopped me. You have to be mad at yourself.
Right.
So when she issued the little phony apology or whatever, I just took it for what it was. It was a form of an apology. She realized she was wrong. You couldn't be woman enough to be humble enough to just issue a genuine apology. So we'll just let that be that, and that'll be the end of it. It's when I see her, I don't hate to see her coming or anything like that. So if she walks past me, it's just she walks past me. I'm not gonna be feeling. I'm in my feelings about her saying something and not doing an apology. I'm way above that.
Right. Now, Vito, a lot of the older legends and the Masters of Vogue and stuff like that. You are one of the Masters of Vogue, right?
I am in the group.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about when people have so much to say about y'all? And I think Kelly called y'all senior citizen. For some of y'all, Vito, how do you feel about? Do you feel like a legend? If you are you've been stamped already. Do you feel like you should be storming and coming back out to play, or do you feel like you should sit back and let the new generation have their fun? Or how do you feel about that?
Well, for performance, I think it's a little bit easier because they have legendary performance a lot at a lot of balls that you're going to go to because the people like to show that respect to the legends and not make them. Because right now, realistically, any ball, it's 25 plus Vogue femmes. So it's not like back in the day where you may have 3 or 4 battles to determine a winner. You're having half a category, having other categories, then having more battles to get to a winner for one category. And the legends, I know, like myself, I got about 3 strong battles in me, and that's gonna be it.
That's it.
I'm not gonna be able to do 7 to 8 battles because I'm not 18 anymore. Although I work out and I build my stamina, I just don't have that type of stamina to Vogue all night. Shout out to the people like Marquise who can, shout out to the legends who do. You have those legends who they just so competitive to the level that no matter who it's against, whether it's other legends or whether it's new people, I'm going to get out here. I'm just going to do what I can do. Shout out to them. But, I think that the biggest thing about the whole master separation was it was something new. It was something exclusive. So, of course, when they saw who were actually affiliated, they were going to have something to say. No matter who was in it or who was left out of it, everybody was going to have something to say. The thing that I like about it is with Pony's inception of the group, they didn't feel that he didn't feel a need to have to explain it at every chance he had. And I think that's what pissed people off the most. People feel that they have to have this validation or that people have to explain everything to them. Sometimes it works best to just let things be. You don't have to let everybody into the inner workings of everything just so they can feel a part. Right. And I think that's what the whole separation of everything led to.
So what's a master in your eyes, Vito?
To me, a master. Well, I'm so sorry.
Let's get out. Phone go my phone. This exclusive interview.
Hold on 1 second. Let me do it. To me,
while Vito's doing that, Watch the Throne Boy DC is coming up. Dante's born Lisa, so that's coming up. So make sure you tune into that. Go to that. But go ahead, Vito. Now, what's a master?
A master to me is someone who has really done that thing. You have paid your dues on the runway and off the runway by helping people, and that when you see other people voguing, whether it's in your state or outside of your state or anything, there are remnants of all of your performance in these different people who came up under you. Right. So it means you've made your mark, you've also taught, and you're able to go ahead and let your legacy live on.
Okay. Now, Vito, for the new generation of girls, shout out to BMZ, shout out to Little James, shout out to Cassandra. Well, she's a legend now, but those girls, who are your favorite new girls? Right, with the new generation of girls. Who are some of your new favorites? Do you have any favorites? Alex Mugler. Do you have any?
I do. I really get into the soft and cunt girls. I've always been a fan of soft and cunt girls, but I do like the country dramatics girls as well. I live for Tells Ms. Rahi's performance. She is one of the new girls who's definitely blazed her way through. It has so much originality to it. It's not so cookie cutter like a lot of the girls. Shout out to my daughter Bamsy. You know, yeah, he's definitely done his thing as well. Bam Lord even. I think he's a little understated. But outside of those, I do like Alex. And the new little Balenciaga. I can't think. Ronnie, I think his name
Ronnie,
is.
he did his thing too. Shout out to Ronnie Balenciaga. You did your thing at the Candy World, boy. You really did.
And then outside of that, I think like the new little cunty one, the Con, what's his name?
Baby
Hurricane.
Yeah. She's been on everybody's radar lately. Shout out to you.
But she's been doing her thing, and it's very appreciative, especially for somebody who walks the category, to see somebody who comes and can remain cunt even through their acrobatics and gymnastics. You know, it's not just, oh, I'm gonna rush and get this stunt out. I'm gonna still give you all elements of a performance with it. So definitely one of my favorites, or among the people who I enjoy watching when I am at a ball.
Now, do you want to be an icon for both of them? Well, because when you've been dipping it, you play. First of all, like you said, you guys wasn't there. Vito, your outfit, and your whole giddy up was over.
Thank you.
I was sitting right at the bleachers. I seen it. I loved it. First of all, what you had on, just for the people who wasn't there?
For best dress.
For best dress.
Well, for best dress, I basically had those pants made because in this season, you can't really find red pants. But I had a formal shoe, and I had, shout out to my homeboy Quentin, who stoned those shoes for me. He did a great job.
Yeah.
I can let you see all of that in the closet once you were done with the interview. But my boy Quentin actually stoned those shoes for me. And that was a Trina and Turk blazer I had on and a Versace shirt.
Okay.
And then the glasses were also Versace.
Okay. Now, speaking of that situation, Milan, shout out to Milan Blahnik. It was a lot of controversy in the Boom A-List group about Kodama. Shout out to Kodama as well, Milan. What was your thoughts about it, Vito? Like, how do you feel about the girl? I think Milan, he went to some store. I don't know what. He had somebody talk, said that's not true, that Kodama's on a fake label.
First and foremost,
okay, go ahead.
You know, anybody that knows Atlanta knows Milan was still in Atlanta. There is no YSL store here. On second parts of that interview, you're in somebody's department store because YSL wouldn't have a Tom Ford case in the background. So while she's doing this interview and searching through something, she can't validate anything if she's not a YSL salesperson themselves because she doesn't have access to whatever. As far as the alleged false fake YSL shoes or whatever, I wasn't with Kodama. We personally bought them, so I can't say that they're fake. I can't say that they're real, but I'll stand by the fact that my house father walked Best Dressed Spectator in Valentino blazers, Christian Louboutin shoes, and a Versace belt, and I don't remember what the pants are, but these are the labels that I knew he had on. So if he's walking Best Dressed in labels, then I know that he's one of the few that can walk in label shoes. And you know, the whole thing, I just think that it's sad of somebody's, of Milan's degree that would try to discredit somebody's credibility when they are known label diva or whatever the situation is, because this was his first time really that I know of dabbling back into fashion categories since they ran him out of the ball for pulling that whole thing with the
They ran Milan Blahnik out of.
Yeah, about the Givenchy shirt back at Celebration Hall.
I remember they said Milan was patching fake labels on her garments.
Allegedly.
I don't know, Milan.
Allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't in the room with the needle and the thread, So I don't know, but that Givenchy shirt, according to the other person he walked labels against, was not a Givenchy shirt because he didn't make men's shirts that year. But even still, like for Foot and Eyewear, I beat Milan. And I beat Milan in a Christian Louboutin shoe and an Alexander high-tech frame. Of course, it was no secret. Anybody that knows these labels can Google and find these websites. So the price is never going to be an issue. I can tell him that my shoe was $12.95. It hasn't been released in the States. I had it flown from Paris. So, you're saying
that's
that, this is that, and the third. Okay, you had on a frame that was by McQueen that was featured in the ad. You had on an off-the-rack Neiman Marcus Jimmy Choo valued at $600. So if you're going to bust it down, Bust it down, but lose gracefully. You know, don't go making interviews and making this big scene. You lost to me. So if you're gonna read with me, and if you're gonna say Alexander High Tech is not a label, last time I checked, and I've been in the ballroom scene now for years, I've seen this category go and evolve, and people walk in the most outlandish of things that weren't labels. Foot and Eyewear was never really about labels. It was the exquisite combination of a sickening shoe and frame, which we brought. Right. Which is why we won. We all know that the Milans is that fashion house. The Blahniks not really known for fashion, and we saw their fashions that night. You know, I love the Blahniks. I love their mothers and fathers. So it's never going to turn into a situation where I feel like I need to read or do anything to belittle anyone, because the picture speaks for themselves. The garments on the runway speaks for themselves. You want to say that it's not about a look next time I need to do X, Y, Z. Next time you should, because if you lost to a $250 glasses that you consider a streetwear label, maybe you should invest more in your shoe and not so much attention to the glasses, you know? So that's how I look at it. But Milan is still my brother. Shout out to Milan. You know, we were texting yesterday when he was doing that whole foolishness, and I even got to text in my phone where he said he knew the shoe was real. He was just stirring it. But, you know,
Milan, stop doing stuff for attention. I love you too, Milan, but stop it now. Come on.
Yeah, you know, I just
Pampers is in the building. $5,000 is here. So, Vito. Okay, yeah, back to you. Now, Vito. Now, this whole thing with your father position, because you got the father position, how did that come about? Like, how did you get your father position, and were you happy, and was it something talked about, and how did this happen with your father position? And did people have because I heard a lot of people had so much to say about you being father.
You know, people are always going to have so much to say. Okay. What I will say is, instead of going through all of that, because those are old wounds, and I don't want to feel like I'm going to be the one that's going to keep picking at this scab. What I will say is, now that I've been acknowledged and received my position as father, the people will see what I've been doing in the background for so many years. You know, each leader, Kadan, shout out to Kadan, he has really groomed me. I've really come up under a very humbled and very understanding and nurturing type of overall house father. I don't know about the inner workings of a lot of houses. You hear a lot of things, but I can really stand strong in saying that my overall house father has done what he needed to do to make sure that the direction of his house went into the proper direction and maintained the same vision that it has for years. And I really am appreciative for that. So within coming into the Atlanta father position, you know, people get to see what I've done for years. As far as those people who didn't see it.
How long, hold on, I'm gonna stop you real quick. Now, Vito, how long you been father for the house?
I've been, this Labor Day was 1 year for me. This was my 1 year anniversary.
How does it feel, Vito, to be like the father of Milan? That's such a legendary, iconic house.
You know, but just coming behind where there was no Atlanta father here, filling the shoes of Kadan, period, in any aspect, are really big shoes to fill. And it comes with so much territory, because we have a small house of so many big personalities that it can become overwhelming. But, you know, it feels good. And I was able to showcase how I can be a great leader and stand in the ranks of those who felt like I wasn't ready to do it. So I was able to do it, and it just feels good. You know, all the congratulations I've gotten and everything just keeps me humble, but at the same time, it validates that this was the right decision that they made in making me father.
On that note, we're going to come back from what we're going to. Now we're going to get personal with Vito Milan.
Oh, shit.